Hi, guys. Welcome to EasyDatingCoach.com and my YouTube channel. I'm Mike Goldstein. I am so excited for today's interview. I don't know why I brought him on here because he's way better looking than me. It's probably not going to help my channel. But Benjamin Ritter, welcome, my friend. How are you?
How is it going? I appreciate the compliment. I'm blushing. There- we both are very good looking in a lot of ways.
That's very generous. I'll take it. All right, guys, today's topic is one intentional thing you need to do to find commitment. And Benjamin is going to break this down for us. But before we get into all that, I would love for you to tell us your story of how you got started in this whole industry.
Uh, it starts when I was pretty young, but I hit a pretty low point, and I'm an achievement-oriented person. So luckily, when I hit the lowest of lows that I could ever have gotten, I was obsessively focused on getting out of that hole that I dug for myself. And so I studied everything I could when it came to personal development. At that time, my main focus was just being normal socially and being able to date and just being able to walk up to someone and say hi. And I couldn't do that. And so I obsessed over this field and read everything and listened to everything, attended everything I could, to the point where one day, years later, I was really happy with myself socially and my dating life. I actually got headhunted and recruited in a bar to go run a men's boot camp program across the United States. So it's very interesting how the things that I've become extremely interested in and obsessed over personally have become something that I've gained positions in and taught professionally. And so over time, over the years that have passed, I've learned things that I wanted to teach other people. So I wrote books and I wrote articles and recorded podcasts, and I wanted to get that information out to as many people as I could. So I was like, I need to build my own platform. And so I really sat down and tried to focus on what I cared about. And personally, it was more than just dating and relationships. It was my entire life, and it was living an intentional life. It was taking control of my life. It was living for myself, and that's what I found has led me towards fulfillment. And so I went back and got my doctorate, founded Live for Yourself Consulting, and here we are today.
Wow, that is a great story. You don't have to answer this, but I'm going to ask it because I think it'll draw people closer to you. What was the lowest of the low, if you feel comfortable telling us? And if not, we'll move on.
No, so I think there were a couple points along the way, because I would solve dating and relationships, and then I would still be unfulfilled personally and professionally. And then I would figure out, look at my life through my values, but then I'd still be unfulfilled professionally, and I'd be going into work and hating my life. And then it was about, learning this process over time that led me to where I am today, led me to develop the LID system. But way back when I first started studying dating, relationships, and personal development, I was very, very focused on becoming a professional soccer player. So, people that weren't really interested in sports may not really understand this moment in your life. But because I was so obsessed with trying to become a professional soccer player, that's all I did. That's all I knew. So for many years in my life, probably 5-6 years in my life, all I did was play soccer 3 times a day. I obsessed over what I ate and how I worked out to try to become as fit as I could to become a better player. The only books I read were soccer. The only people I really hung out with were no one because they weren't practicing with me. And so I didn't develop any social skills. And at the same time, the one relationship that I had failed miserably in turmoil of abuse, emotional abuse and physical abuse towards me. So I was left at the end of this, when I did not achieve this professional athletic position, with no self-identity, with no social skills, with no friends, with no idea how to date, with no idea how to have a healthy relationship. And that led me to a ton of mental issues, a ton of physical issues, personal issues. I lost a ton of weight. I was wholly depressed with no self-identity. And I really didn't know where to go. I had no direction.
Wow. That's really interesting. We're going to talk more about that because I also love soccer. So we're going to talk offline about that.
Yeah. Did you see the Liverpool game recently?
I did. That was crazy.
That was incredible.
It was. All All right. And as you can see, I have the soccer poster right there.
I do.
All
Just
right.
just to note too, real quick, there's a good thing and bad thing about being achievement oriented. As you can tell, being achievement oriented, but sourcing your validation and self identity externally is very dangerous. Being achievement oriented, but still being fulfilled and finding your levels of confidence and self identity internally, very positive because you end up actually taking action and getting things done. So it's interesting how like the same personality trait can have a dark side and a positive side.
Absolutely. So I want to switch gears and talk about dating. Um, so many people out there, they just kind of whimsically go about dating because they're like, all right, well, when I meet the person, like it's going to be fantastic. And, I'll get married one day and I'll have kids or maybe I got divorced and now I'm just going to go back out there and we'll see what happens. And they have no process, no strategy, no goals. And they're just like, we'll see what happens. But in every other aspect of their life, they're like, all right, here's how I'm going to achieve what I want. I want to make 300,000, or I want to make six figures. So I'm going to go to my job. I'm going to talk to my boss. How do I get promoted? What do I need to do? You're going to document the goals. You're going to start achieving them. Maybe you go to work early, you stay late, you do all these things. But dating, Benjamin, how important is it to have goals when it comes to dating?
It is the most important aspect of dating, and thank you for really like breaking that down because it is very strange how with everything else in our life we're very goal oriented. I'd say successful people are goal oriented. They're not just taking things as they come. They're not living life, moment by moment. They're making plans. They're going to school and getting a degree because they have this long-term goal of being in this career, or they're volunteering to earn skills, or reaching out for mentors, or looking at their environment and focusing their environment on what they want to do professionally or even personally. But when it comes to dating, it's just like, oh, what does my heart feel right now? What's the spark? And let's ignore every other factual like source that we're getting right now and just live solely based on our emotion. And that's why things fail. That's why people get in relationships that they end up really not aligning, or why they end up staying in relationships that don't work for them, because they are basing their relationship decisions on emotions and not really their end goal for why they're even dating in the first place.
So that's interesting. So what kind of goals should people be putting out there for dating? Like, how do they get to their ultimate goal of life partnership? Like, what are the steps? Like, what do they got to do?
Yeah, so I guess first off, define the end goal. I think too often people don't even do that. Is your end goal a life partner? Is that truly what you want? And are you ready for that right now? Is that the thing that you want to work towards? Because if it's not, then that shouldn't be your goal, and that shouldn't be what you think you're screening for. Because then, if it's not really what you want and you think you're screening for it, there's going to be a lot of like internal dissonance and stress and frustration and decisions that don't really serve you. So first off, define what the long-term goal is. And let's do that first.
Okay.
And let's say for just the sake of conversation, the long-term goal is this life
Okay. Perfect.
partner. Okay.
Yeah.
So then what is that life partner? Who is that life partner?
Ooh, let's role play this. I like it. So who is this life partner? So I want someone who makes me feel not anxious, have a lot of fun, feel supported, feel safe, feel secure, and feel loved.
Okay, so now we've figured out what we want for our life partner. Really, that means what do we want for ourselves? So, are we feeling not anxious or not stressed? Are we feeling comfortable with ourselves and our life? And so, have we created a life for that? Have we created a life where we are having fun, where we're able to have fun each and every day? Have we just what were some of the other ones that you said?
Safe, secure, not
Yeah.
anxious, fun,
Hmm.
supported.
So really what I was going with that is saying you need all those things for yourself before you can find them in somebody else. So you need to have understandings of what makes you anxious and deal with those initially. You need to understand what makes you not feel safe and deal with those, and truly define your own self as well as your expectations for your relationships before thinking you know what those things are in somebody else.
That's interesting. Now, are you a firm believer? Like, let's say, the person we're talking about is a little bit anxious where, let's say the person doesn't text for a few hours and they're kind of thinking like, where is that person? Are they cheating on me? Are they just their mind starts to go wild with thoughts. Can this person who's healthy and doing great otherwise get into a relationship and work on it in the relationship? Or does this person, in your opinion, must work on it solely by themselves? And once they've fixed it, then go find a relationship?
Yeah, that is a wonderful question. I think it's twofold. If someone is not making you, but if being in a relationship with someone is causing feelings of stress and anxiety within you, then you don't feel safe in that relationship. And so that's twofold. That's one, you don't feel safe for yourself, so you may have trusting issues, and that's something for you to explore. But then now that gives you an opportunity to explore, well, what relationship values do I truly need? What are the things I need within my relationship to help me feel safe? And is that just a trust in your partner? Is it your partner communicating certain things to you? So it allows you to work on yourself as well as the relationship. It's a lot easier to work on the relationship once you've already worked on yourself. That's not to say you can't work on both of those at the same time. I think a lot of people end up being in a relationship that shows them that they have work to do within themselves. So more than likely, you're probably going to be able to explore those things within you while being in this type of relationship. I think you can do it each way. You can do it in the relationship or do it out of the relationship.
That's such a complete answer. And if anyone's watching this, and I would just rewind that and watch that again. That's one of the best answers I've ever heard for that question. So thank you so much for that. Like, that was wildly helpful and just complete. So thank you. Let's talk about relationships. What leads to more lasting relationships, in your opinion?
Lasting relationships. Now that's if the relationship's supposed to last. We're
Mm-hmm.
still in this goal-oriented mentality where we're in a relationship. So let's say we're in a relationship. Our goal is to be in this long-term relationship, and we found a partner. We have similar relationship values. I know what my values are. They have similar values to my personal core values, and we basically have a lot of things that are compatible, and we have chemistry. So we're compatible. We have chemistry. Our relationship values are similar. This is a really good person to be in a relationship with. Now, the number one thing that you need to remember for this relationship is that both of you want to be in the relationship and to stay goal oriented, because too often momentary conflict causes us to emotionally respond and destroy something that we actually want to be in. And so by staying goal oriented, by giving our relationship the benefit of the doubt, by giving our partner the benefit of the doubt, we're able to keep the correct mindset while we're in conflict, or while we're maybe in situations that could cause us to maybe cheat or not be as faithful as we want to be. Because instead of in those situations, you're responding on emotions, you're not really utilizing strategy. And long-term relationships succeed because we stay goal oriented and utilize strategy.
So it seems like whether it's the man or the woman, sometimes emotion gets in the way. And when emotion comes out, we forget what our goal is to be in a happy long-term relationship where we're just like looking at the thing right in front of us. I am angry because, they said they were going to do something and they didn't do it. So I'm angry and now I'm communicating in not the most effective way to my partner. So with that being said, like, what is the strategy to keep those emotional levels, or keep your focus basically on our goal of happy, amazing life partnership?
So I think there are a variety of different strategies in terms of conflict management, but overall, and I think we've kind of both mentioned this, is to stay goal oriented is to give the relationship and your partner the benefit of the doubt. To remember that you're choosing to be in this relationship, you want to be in this relationship is important to you. And the fact that maybe they didn't do the dishes and you perceive that it means they don't love you, but they actually just don't, they've never grown up doing the dishes. Even that conflict can explode and ruin your entire relationship. but keeping in mind that, okay, this person is an individual that's had their experiences. They've grown up their entire life living the way they have. They're different than me. They're different than me, but they want the same thing as me. And we're a really good match. So instead of leading on emotion and saying, this person doesn't love me because they're doing this, you could say, this person does love me. They're just maybe not capable of doing this right now, or don't understand what doing this means to me. And that should help you work through some of that conflict, that momentary, emotionally driven conflict.
I love that. All right, let's go back to dating. Why is it important to prioritize dating?
Yeah. This takes us back to goals again. I mean, if dating is important to you, then you need to prioritize it. Like you said before, it's like we don't go take a university level course on dating, right? Our experiences with dating are solely based on our experiences with dating. The experiences with dating we see maybe in the movies, and the experiences of our friends and maybe our parents. And most people aren't sitting down and reading books on dating. I mean, the listeners of your show, I'm sure they're doing more than the average individual, so they're gaining more knowledge. But if you're not prioritizing dating, you're not really gaining experiences for yourself. And if this is something that you want for your life, if you want a relationship, a long-term relationship, you need to date. And it's not like you're going to meet someone and fast forward, now you're in this long-term relationship. It's like a step-by-step process. I mean, and you don't really know someone for like 6 months. So if you're not prioritizing dating and making it something important in your life, you're going to end up being a little bit older than you want, still searching for this long-term partner, but still having to go through the 6 months to a year long steps of dating someone new and realizing this partner isn't really for you. So by prioritizing it, you're really saving yourself time in the end.
Absolutely. Can I add one important thing here? Do you mind?
Yeah, add everything.
Oh, well, thank you. So one of the big reasons I started this business is I saw that, 50 years ago, folks were getting married, and most of the time it was for security, financial security, safety. And it was, 50, 100 years ago, just men were in the workforce. So their job was to go to work, make money, provide for the family, get the kids, food, shelter, safety. And now, as you know, Benjamin, we're dating most of the time, and for most people, for love. And there's a lot of the women watching here, probably over 90% have amazing careers and make their own money. And now they want to date a guy because there's chemistry, there's compatibility, there's shared values, there's this wonderful experience. And it's not just about locking down, this is the biggest, strongest man that makes me feel the safest and most secure, and I feel like they'll provide for the family. So we just need a whole new skill set. It used to just be like, let's get that man and makes money. Now it's like, well, can he stimulate my mind? Can he validate me? Can he make me feel safe, secure up here and physically? Can we have fun on dates? Do I feel special? Do I feel excited when I'm with this person? So that's why when I asked you why we should prioritize dating, it just like it's a whole new world out there, and we need a whole new skill set. And that's why Benjamin has a job. That's why I have a job. Because it's freaking hard, because we're doing something that we haven't done, in the whole history of the human race. We never were here until now. So, sorry, I went on a huge rant, but I feel like I feel like this is so important for everyone to understand that it is not as easy as it was back then, because we're dating for an entirely different reason. What are your thoughts on that whole thing?
I'm 100% with you there, and thank you for bringing that up. The evolution of marriage is one of the most interesting things. I mean, the evolution of dating. I mean, men used to leave like a calling card to walk a girl home. Like things are so different, and literally within just a couple generations. And it is a new skill set. And with every new skill set, there's going to be a learning curve. And it can be frustrating, it can be stressful. And I just I want to say to all our listeners, it's okay. Have some patience. Give it some time, and try to have fun throughout the process.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Have fun. I love that. All right. So, since I went on my rant, we should probably talk about sustaining a relationship. What do you think is the most important thing partners can do to make sure the relationship, and once again, to your point, a relationship that is meant to be together and is a healthy one, how do we keep it together?
Just to reiterate the last point, it really is just giving your partner the benefit of the doubt. And it's staying goal oriented. It's trusting your partner. It's trusting first. You kind of spoke about this earlier. If you're in a relationship where you don't feel safe, you can't trust your partner. And so you need to be in a relationship where you feel safe first to be able to even think about this. And so you need to feel safe yourself. You need to feel safe in your relationship. And then throughout the relationship, you always need to give your partner the benefit of the doubt. And to do that, though, you also need to communicate. And I think this is something a lot of people are missing. And I see it with clients. They think something, they feel something, and then you go, so did you tell your partner that? And they're like, I couldn't do that. No, of course not. And you will gain everything by communicating. You will gain nothing by not communicating. You actually will be worse off by not communicating because you'll build resentment and misunderstand your partner and not really learn and grow together. And so I guess I would say trust first, give your partner the benefit of the doubt, and communicate. And not just communicate, but actually ensure that what you're saying is getting across. So by communicating, by saying something to your partner and then asking, okay, can you tell me what I said here? Can you tell me what I mean and feel? Because trust me, as a guy, I don't really understand everything that comes out of my girlfriend's mouth. And I haven't understood really everything that has come out of people's in the past that I've been in relationships with. And even with clients like really speaking back and reiterating what they have said to me is incredibly important, because not only do you guarantee that you now understand what they're saying, but now you're giving them the chance to hear what their thoughts are and even elaborate further. So communication is key.
Absolutely. All right, let's go back to the issue where the guy is not doing the dishes. And obviously, this isn't the end of the world, but when these things pile up, all of a sudden, we're all going to get ticked off and be like, this relationship's not for me when they build up. Now, we know that society tells men, be strong, be tough, don't be emotional, don't cry, and don't share. And which is totally wrong. Men, if you're watching this, share and be comfortable. But how can women make it a safe place for men to explain, kind of what you said, like that men, I've never done dishes, that's not my thing. But how do we make it safe for him to communicate? What can a woman ask men strategically to get them to open up and communicate?
I think this goes not just for men. I think this goes for everyone. I mean, a lot of the strategies we find in dating and relationships can be applied throughout our life. So I would say the key to getting anyone to open up in these types of situations is by first avoiding the word why. If anyone listening can just take away the word why from their vocabulary, so many great things would happen, because why puts people on defensive. And so after you avoid the word why, and next you ask questions like what and how. And so by asking those questions, you're giving someone the opportunity to open up. And then when someone, if you go to your partner and let's say this is about dishes, and you go, so what stopped you from doing the dishes today? And the person said, well, I just didn't do the dishes. And then you could say, well, what is it that got in the way of you doing the dishes? Or how do you think not doing the dishes makes me feel? And then you go on from there and you ask more questions. Or what would make it easier for you to do the dishes? Or how can I help you with chores around the house? Can we compromise? So there are a lot of questions that you can ask to help steer the conversation away from conflict, from putting someone on defense and becoming more exploratory.
I love that. It's like putting your Sherlock Holmes hat on and getting curious about why he didn't do it. Because once again, like, assuming you're dating a good guy, he's probably got a very legitimate excuse. And let's say he was busy, but then when you do say, hey, how do you think that made me feel? And then you end up coming back and saying, it made me feel like sad, or you didn't care about me. The right guy is going to be like, I don't want you to feel that way, and probably want to figure out a solution. Is that right, Ben?
Yeah, and the solution may not be doing the dishes because some people just grew up a different way. I mean, it's just it's something that is learned over time. Like, don't get into a relationship thinking that now you're with someone, and this is a small thing, but it can be taken to larger things, is going to end up doing the dishes. Like, this person may not do the dishes for 3 to 5 years and then finally understand that you want them to do the dishes. But it is about communicating and understanding that your partner isn't not doing the dishes because they don't love you. They're not doing the dishes because they don't really care or know or have learned to do the dishes. It's something that isn't part of who they are as a person. Now, you may be thinking, well, if he loved me, he would do the dishes. And I would say that, I am of that person, but there are other people that are not of that person. And so the person may still love you and not just see the significance of doing the dishes, despite the levels of communication that you have.
Yeah. So it sounds like you can get the backstory of why a person, for example, isn't doing dishes, but then ultimately it's coming to this ground of acceptance of who they are and loving who they are, and really looking towards, well, they have all these amazing, great things, and this is their one thing that I don't like, so I just need to somewhat accept it. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much. You have to accept someone for who they are.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go in a relationship thinking that they're going to be this person you want them to be, but you can be in the relationship and find out why they are the person that they are, or what is causing them to be the person that they are. And you can either love that or not love that. It's truly your choice.
I love that. All right. This was awesome. Benjamin Ritter, you are a genius. Thanks for coming on here. But before we head out, we are going to hook you up with a free gift from Benjamin. I'm going to plop it in the description, and I'm also going to put it as the top comment so you guys can find it. Benjamin, what are we giving away today?
So we're giving away a little ebook that I wrote that details and outlines out the system that I developed to help people really get unstuck and find more fulfillment in their life, in their relationships, at work. And so all you got to do to find it is go to liveforyourselfconsulting.com / your free gift, and you'll find it. A short little ebook defining and detailing out the live system to get you unstuck through 4 simple steps.
Yes. And guys, don't worry about remembering that link. I will plop it down there so you can just click it. That was a mouthful. I got you. Anyway, Benjamin, that was awesome. I really enjoyed that. I think everyone did. Everyone watching, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll have another video for you on Tuesday. As always, please hit like, hit subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video in the comments. I will have Benjamin check it occasionally, so he'll respond, and I, of course, will check it. But anyway, love you guys, and we will see you next time.